Hi everyone, my name is Sienna and this is Sienna Reacts. So this is primarily a Eurovision channel, like Eurovision reaction channel, but I saw a couple of things. I was like, why not? I'm going to put it on here anyway. And it's Southern comfort foods you need to try before you die. So I was watching this, like when I was like downstairs, I was watching and I was like, wait, I can make a reaction to this. This is my wheelhouse. I'm American. I'm Southern. This is for me, right? So I wanted to see what they have to say. Before we get started, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate. Please comment along as we go. And let me know if you've tried any of these, if you want to try any of them, and is there like an equivalent or something similar in the country that you're from? So let's go ahead, let's get started.
It's absolutely delicious too. If you haven't tried these, well, bless your heart. These are comfort foods you absolutely need to try. One of the most popular dishes in New Orleans are beignets. These airy treats are made with usually square pieces of yeast dough that are fried in hot oil until they puff up. They're then generously dusted with powdered sugar and eaten straight away, preferably accompanied by a mug of cafe au lait. Arguably, the best place to enjoy a beignet is in New Orleans, preferably at the Café du Monde.
I don't think it's arguably. That's where they come from.
In the city's French Quarter. But if getting around is proving a little difficult right now, then you're in luck, because they're not difficult to make at home either. Just make sure to turn them often in the oil and be careful not to overcook them.
Yeah, have you guys tried them before?
It's a hearty breakfast dish that you'll find in restaurants.
I don't think that's that's a good picture. It looks like dog food, but it's really not. It's typically a bit more watery. This looks like it's made with sausage, so I'm guessing that there's like a lot of sausage in this and not as much like liquid, but yeah.
And homes across the South. The soft, flaky biscuits are smothered in white gravy, which is made from pork sausage drippings, milk, and flour. The gravy is seasoned with black pepper and typically includes pieces of the breakfast sausage too, making it even more flavorful.
It looks more like that. It's not like super thick and chunky. Like it has sausage, but it's not like sausage with a hint of liquid.
The news is that sausage
gravy
is easy to make at home, and there are plenty of different recipes available online. Failing that, you could pick up some of the ready mix packets at the grocery store.
Don't you dare do that. You can make it yourself.
Although you'll really want to try the homemade stuff at least once.
Also, the sausage is breakfast sausage. It's not like the long sausage that I guess is more common in other countries. It's like we have a specific sausage that we mainly eat with breakfast that's like spiced in a different way.
As for the biscuits, if making them from scratch just isn't feasible, the Pillsbury ones you pop open and bake will work just fine. Just don't let a Southerner catch you taking those shortcuts. Okay, so boiled peanuts sound kind of bland compared to roasted peanuts, but don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah, so you can make it. You can make with Coca-Cola. Like you can use Coca-Cola to boil it. Good. They're made by taking raw peanuts and boiling them for hours in salty water over a fire until the shells turn soggy. These peanuts are then sold at roadside stands all over the South, where residents and tourists alike enjoy them, often with bottles of Coke or sweet tea. For what it's worth, it's usually best to munch on boiled peanuts outdoors, so you can easily spit out their soggy shells, because it's nearly impossible to crack them open with your hands. Of course, some people opt to eat these peanuts whole, shells and all, but that's one heck of an acquired taste. For centuries, people have been making use of their stale bread by creating their own kinds of bread pudding.
I think bread pudding is like typically thought of as like a British dish or something, right? But we do, like my mom makes it in the winter.
Often made with bread, cream, eggs, sugar, spices, and raisins, modern bread pudding is the heartiest of comfort foods and should do wonders for warming you up on a cold and dreary day. So how do you make bread pudding even better? Just add bourbon. In the South, people often add a few dashes of bourbon to a number of different recipes, and bread pudding is one of them. The bourbon combines with the cream and sugar to create a thick, warm sauce that is drizzled over the warm bread pudding right before serving. Brunswick Stew is a hearty, tomato-based stew that's hugely popular in the South. It typically features beans, corn, and
they made theirs with brisket.
Other vegetables, along with some sort of meat. The base includes barbecue sauce and a little hot sauce for some heat too. Early versions of the stew use squirrel meat, but if you're not brave enough to keep it authentic, you can always substitute the squirrel with rabbit, chicken, or just about anything else. Virginians claim the stew originated in their Brunswick County, while Georgians will tell you it was first made in the city of Brunswick, Georgia. Wherever it came from, however, it's a truly delicious comfort food that'll easily take the chill out of a wintry day. Grab some cornbread, or a loaf of any crusty bread for that matter, to sop up all the southern goodness. Fried catfish is a simple dish that's available at most restaurants.
Wait, so is catfish a thing in like other countries? Because I remember watching, I think it was Jolly. They did a reaction where they were in Georgia or South Carolina. They were somewhere, and they ate catfish, I guess, for the first time, and they were just confused by the flavor. So, or like they were thinking that the flavor was coming from the breading and not from the fish. So is it not a thing in other countries? Let me know. I don't know.
Serve fish in the South. And the good news is that catfish is pretty good for you, since it's high in omega-3 fatty acids and low in mercury. If you can't find it at a restaurant near you, however, your grocery store may offer farmed catfish, which is also typically clean and nutritious. Catfish is easy enough to prepare. Dip it in milk.
Why is Gordon Ramsay there?
And fry it in hot oil. It'll only take a few minutes to get it golden brown.
Confusion.
Flaky on the inside. Add a squirt of lemon and a side of rice. Then start chowing down. Pure bliss.
And not white rice, like seasoned rice. Yes.
For a truly comforting meal, there's nothing like a bowl of chicken and dumplings.
I don't like it.
South, where you can find them at most sit-down restaurants, you can try making these at home.
It's not my favorite. Okay.
And though they aren't difficult to make, dumplings are a kind of art form, and they can take some time to perfect. You don't want your dumplings undercooked and wet inside, but you also don't want them so overcooked that they start falling apart in the broth. Stick them with a toothpick, and if it comes out clean, you're good to go. Chicken fried steak, sometimes called country fried steak, is made from...
This is my favorite. I love country fried steak.
A tenderized cube steak, which is battered like fried chicken, pan-fried and topped with white gravy. While you can find chicken fried steak in an array of...
Again, this is the gravy she was talking about earlier.
It's most closely associated with Texas. And as with most things, it's always bigger in Texas too. In fact, at Lulu's Cafe in San Antonio, you can find a 21-ounce...
Also, if you see on the left side at the top is like fried okra, which is also another like pretty common southern dish.
Version of this dish. And it's not a coincidence that Lulu's is also home to the famous 3-pound cinnamon roll too. That's just how they roll down there, as it were. For your next Super Bowl party, forgo the wings and
gizzard. Oh my God, yes. Instead. Okay, this may sound like super weird, but I'm from the South. I'm kind of from like a country, like rural area, and so you go to the gas station and they would have like a bunch of different stuff. When I was growing up, I really loved gizzards. I also really loved liver. Now I was like more adventurous with like food and like my palate when I was younger, and then now I'm just like I can't do it anymore, but I used to love gizzards like so much.
Believe it or not, your guests might thank you for it. Okay, so you probably don't want to think too much about what a gizzard is, but that'll be easy enough to do once you realize how good it tastes. You can cook gizzards in a number of ways, but it's best to boil them first and then coat them before deep frying. Throw in a little hot sauce, and soon you won't be able to get enough of these tender little morsels.
Maybe. Okay.
Chicken pot pie is an iconic southern comfort food that, when done right, simply...
It's my mom's favorite thing.
...can't be beaten. And done right doesn't mean grabbing a pie from your grocer's freezer section. A flaky golden brown homemade crust is essential for this southern specialty. Inside, the chicken needs to be moist and plentiful. The vegetables must be neither too firm nor too mushy, and the gravy creamy but not goopy. Is it a challenge to find a good chicken pot pie? Yes, but it really is worth it. And if you don't trust restaurants to get it right, you could always experiment with different recipes at home.
Do you guys have anything similar to this? Like we do, like here in the US or where I'm from, or my mom, like she really loves like chicken pot pie. I'm partial to making shepherd's pie. Like that's my thing. Oh, I'll put a picture somewhere of like the last time I made shepherd's pie like a couple months ago when it was cooler. But yeah, like do you guys have anything like similar?
Take some time to perfect, but once you land on just the right method, you'll never want to cook anything else. Ambrosia didn't actually originate in the South, but you'll still find it at plenty of southern...
This is really good. It's like a fruit salad. Yeah.
It contains mandarin oranges, mini marshmallows, pineapple chunks, and shredded coconut mixed with some sort of dairy.
And like cherries. Usually they'll put cherries in. And then it's like whipped cream, or some people use other stuff, but like growing up we had it with like whipped cream.
Some people use mayonnaise, while others use cream cheese, plain yogurt, or whipped cream.
Yeah.
You might also find some potluckers added bananas, cherries, and nuts, too. Because why the heck not, right? Think of it like
Some people do a lot.
the banana split without the ice cream. And then maybe throw in some ice cream anyway. If you live north of the Mason-Dixon line, you've probably experienced chitlins before. And you are most definitely missing out. Chitlins are made from the large intestine.
You're not missing out. Okay, I gotta be honest. I used to live in China. I went to Korea a lot. So they also have like intestines like that. It's a thing there. But somehow it is worse. The US version is far worse than what they're doing there. Like I can eat intestines like no problem in China and in Korea. But my aunt made it one time for Thanksgiving because she was having it at her house, like Thanksgiving dinner at her house. And legitimately, everyone was so mad. Everyone was so mad at her for making chitlins that like it's banned from like family dinners from now on. Like since then, which was like 10 years ago.
Intestines of a hog, and they need to be carefully cleaned and prepared before cooking for obvious reasons. Typically, the intestines are soaked in baking soda and water, rinsed several times, turned inside out, and cleaned by hand before being boiled for several hours.
Like just think of everything that goes through your intestines or everything that goes through an animal's intestines and then boiling it. It's awful.
And just in case you're doing this at home, be warned. Chitlins smell truly disgusting while they are boiling, so put some onion and lemon in the water to tone down the odor.
That's not gonna help.
If they are boiled, batter and deep fry them. Then serve them up with a little hot sauce. Though Pennsylvania has its own version of Chow Chow, it's actually completely different from the southern variety.
It is?
In the South, Chow
Yeah.
Chow is
Oh, so wait. Okay.
cabbage-based.
Me and my mom actually make this. So when I was younger, like my grandma used to make it and like give it out to everyone, but now she's in her like mid 80s, so she doesn't really make it anymore. But now me and my mom, like we make it like once a year, and we make like 20 jars, and then we just have it throughout the rest of the year. I'll go get mine. Hold on. Okay, so I'm back. So this is the one that's in my fridge right now. So usually like once a year we'll, like me and my mom will like get together, like prep a bunch of like mason jars and then just like buy a bunch of stuff and make it. I think it's like what, like Germany has like sauerkraut, Korea has kimchi, and then the southern US has like chow chow. It's kind of like the same thing. But yeah, anyway, gonna put this down. I'll take it back to the fridge later. But yeah.
This type of pickled relish that incorporates onions, peppers, tomatoes, and a whole lot of seasoning. This stuff is often used as a topping for hot dogs and hamburgers, but you could also use it to top your cornbread, fish cakes, beans, and even your mashed potatoes. In fact, you can put it on just about anything. It'll taste great no matter what. Collard greens are a leafy green vegetable, not completely unlike turnip or mustard greens.
Okay, it says greens and bacon, but it's better with ham hock, but okay.
And are most often associated with soul food. They can be bitter and tough if not cooked properly. But if they're done right, then they'll make the perfect side dish to any southern meal. After washing them well, chop the leaves into inch-long pieces, then simmer them in water. People often throw a ham bone into the pot, along with garlic and onion for a little extra flavor. But one of the best additions to collard greens has got to be bacon.
Instead of or you can do ham bone for like to make like the broth and that type of thing, but doing ham hock over it is better than bacon, or both, or whatever.
Can never go wrong with bacon. Red-eye gravy is made with the grease and drippings of pan-fried ham and black coffee. And yeah, okay, that might sound kind of gross, but this stuff
I guess I'm not that type of southern.
is amazing.
I've never heard of it.
Used to deglaze the pan, but is then combined with the grease on a 1-to-1 ratio, resulting in a highly unusual yet genuinely delicious gravy. You can pour the simple gravy over your ham, potatoes, rice, or grits, but many folk choose to simply sop it up with biscuits. Crawfish, crayfish, crawdads, or mud bugs. Whatever.
So this is more common. So the South is big. We have a lot of like smaller, I don't want to say like ethnic groups, but we have like a lot of small, actually we can say like ethnic groups and smaller enclaves. So this like crawfish and like seafood boils and that type of thing is going to be more common in the south along like the Gulf, obviously because it's where the water is, right? So yeah, I'm not from that area, so this is not for me. But yeah, it's the southern US is not just like all one uniform like ethnic group, basically. If that makes sense. I don't even know if you can call it an ethnic group, but like me and the way I grew up versus someone from the Pacific Northwest is not the same, right? So I'll say culture. Like it's not all one culture. There's different immigrant influences, different immigrant groups congregate in specific areas. So yeah, and then also like geographic, like because of like the geography and like where you are, you create different traditions.
Whatever you call them in your neck of the woods, these freshwater crustaceans are some of the tastiest seafood out there. Of course, you can eat crawfish meat dipped in drawn.
Like I feel like someone in Galveston is not making chow chow. You know what I mean?
Butter, just like you would with lobster. But if you ever find yourself in the Cajun areas of Louisiana, do yourself a favor and seek out Crawfish Etouffee. This is when crawfish is poured over rice for an amazing dish with a seriously deep flavor. As simple as it sounds, you don't want to make fried chicken and waffles at home. Instead, hop on over to one of the South's many awesome waffle establishments or diners.
I mean, can.
That really get it right. If you haven't experienced chicken and waffles before, it might seem like an unusual combination, but it really does work. Crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside, perfectly seasoned fried chicken makes a heavenly partner for a plate of buttery waffles. This is also an incredibly versatile dish.
Again, this is the gravy, like the breakfast gravy.
Would work great for breakfast, lunch, dinner, or a late night snack. Fried green tomatoes is a simple southern side dish that packs a big punch.
I was wondering if they were gonna have this.
To avoid them turning into a soft, soggy mess. Check your unripened tomatoes are suitably firm, then cut them into 3/8 to half-inch slices, and soak them for an hour in a mixture of buttermilk and hot sauce. Dredge the tomatoes in a combination of cornmeal and cornstarch, then fry them in bacon grease over medium-high heat until they're crispy on the outside. But be careful not to overcook them. You can dip them in just about anything, but a
ranch
with mayo, hot sauce, horseradish, and Cajun spices would be the ultimate authentic accompaniment.
I miss the smell of coffee and bacon frying. Oh, what I wouldn't give for a plate of fried green tomatoes.
If you're looking for something a little out of the ordinary to fill you up.
So jambalaya is another one of those like Louisiana, like French type inspired dishes. So like while like we've made it before, it's not really like something that I like grew up on, basically.
Consider jambalaya, a favorite in Louisiana. Jambalaya is a mix of sausage, chicken, seafood, and vegetables, cooked in the same pot with rice and stock. Creole jambalaya contains tomatoes, while the Cajun version does not. Both, of course, are
Creole. I think that's what you meant. Creole.
extremely tasty.
Jambalaya.
In Cajun jambalaya, in rural Louisiana, you might also find a variety of game meats used, as well as alligator, crayfish, and even turtle. All Southerners know that everything's better when you fry it, and okra is no exception.
Yeah, I was mentioning it earlier.
To make these golden nuggets of veggie goodness for yourself, slice your okra, dip it in buttermilk, and then coat it in cornmeal and season before deep frying. The best thing here is that okra is seriously good for you, since it's low in calories and contains a great deal of fiber, potassium, calcium, and vitamins.
So it looks like they coated it in like cornmeal just by the way that it's fried. But if you're like a texture person, like regular like boiled okra can be kind of slimy, so you can fry it up instead, and it kind of gets rid of like the texture that's kind of off-putting for some people.
The hot brown sandwich originated at the restaurant in the Brown Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky in the 1920s, and it's still served there today. The hot brown
I know what it is.
An open-faced turkey sandwich with tomatoes covered in Mornay sauce, which is baked, topped with bacon, and then broiled. Some people say it was originally created with peaches rather than tomatoes. Others swear it's a great hangover cure. Pretty much everyone agrees, however, that it's a genuine, bona fide, once-in-a-lifetime sandwich.
It looks good. I've never seen it before.
If you've ever eaten at Long John
Hush
Silver's,
puppies.
you've probably had their hush puppies. But the ones you can get at a southern restaurant or fish fry are a heck of a lot better than the Long John variety. Hush puppies are basically balls of fried cornmeal batter that are often served alongside fried fish or shrimp. Though hush puppies aren't exactly complex, they're kind of like potato chips, in that it's virtually impossible to eat just one. Southern pecan pie made with a splash of high-quality bourbon.
I was wondering if they were gonna do like a dessert, like pecan pie, sweet potato pie, peach cobbler, all of the cobblers, apple cobbler, blueberry cobbler. I was wondering if they were gonna add some of these in.
To beat. If you don't have a restaurant in your area that makes a killer pecan pie, though, it's not too difficult to make at home. However, you'll want to experiment with the amounts of corn syrup, brown sugar, and bourbon you're using until you find just the right combination. And sure, you might end up having to bake a load of pies to get it right, but who's going to complain about that? If you aren't from the South, then there's a
pimento. I don't like pimento cheese. Anyway, going back to the pie. In the South, we use a lot of pecans. We use it on like a lot of stuff. Like it's just a type of nut, like it comes from a tree. But yeah, like you can chop it up. You can put it on like cinnamon rolls. You can put it on ice cream. A lot. How do I say this? So there's like a specific type of ice cream that like actually uses pecans in it. So yeah, there's a lot of uses for a pecan. So hopefully, I don't know if it's really popular in other countries.
Aren't too familiar with pimento cheese. Basically, pimento cheese is a mixture of cheese mixed with mayo and pimento peppers. It can be spread on crackers, stuffed into celery.
This is more so for like older people. I don't know very many like 30s, 20s, teens that actually have pimento.
For pimento cheese are endless, and once you start incorporating it into your recipes.
But it was on like menus. I remember it being on menus when I was growing up, but I don't actually remember eating it.
You're never going to want to stop. Potlikker is the liquid that's left behind after you boil green vegetables. So what do you do with it other than pour it down the sink? Well, some people save potlikker and use it in place of stock in their next stew or soup, while others pour it over rice or potatoes. But the best thing to do with potlikker is drink it. It might seem a little odd, but that way you can reap all the nutrients that have boiled out of the grain.
I don't know.
Red beans and rice is a staple dish in Louisiana Creole cuisine.
Even I had this when I was like homesick while living in New York. I would just have like red beans and rice. Like that was like my go, like red beans and rice, and then like a side of chicken or something like that. That would be my go-to.
Traditionally, families took the ham hocks, bones, vegetables, and beans that were left over from Sunday dinner and used them to create a scrumptious dish of spicy beans that were served with rice the next day. Cayenne pepper, Tabasco sauce, and other seasonings can turn up the heat.
Also, instead of white rice, you can use dirty rice to make it even more kind of like savory and have more like spices. But I guess you can use white rice. Or usually like you don't serve it separately. Like if you're going to use white rice, you'll cook it with the beans so it soaks up the flavor, rather than just having like legitimately white rice with the beans on top.
On this hearty meal. While some people like to add in sausage or other meats, here's a tip though. If you boil bones to make a broth for the base, you'll get exactly the flavor you want without having to add anything else. Gumbo is sometimes confused with jambalaya, but it's not the same thing at all. The key difference is that with jambalaya, the rice is cooked with the rest of the ingredients. With gumbo, however, the rice is cooked separately. With
gumbo, you actually use like white rice. But I was in culinary when I was in high school, and this was like my, like I didn't make seafood gumbo because I can't have seafood. but I made like a sausage and chicken gumbo, and top marks.
Gumbo is a stew created with a strong, robust stock, sausage, shrimp, other shellfish.
And I like, when I made it, I like burned the roux, and it was awful. But like, I made it through. Top marks.
Fish and the holy trinity of vegetables: bell peppers, celery, and onions. The most important aspect of home cooking a great gumbo is perfecting the roux that's used as its base.
It's so easy to burn. Oh my god.
Someone to make it for you. Your fault. Where's my mac and cheese? Everyone knows that real macaroni and cheese doesn't come out of a box, nor does it come with a packet of powdered cheese. Real good old-fashioned Southern mac.
You must be suspicious of all mac and cheese. The best mac and cheese is baked. If you can't have baked, then the next best is made with like seashells in a pot. Mac and cheese is not white, it's very yellow. And usually there's like 4 to 5 different cheeses while making it. Don't add anything else to it. Yay. Okay.
Mac and cheese is a completely separate dish altogether. It's often created with the combination of cheeses, and you can use anything from smoked cheddar and Monterey Jack to Gruyere and Velveeta. Southern recipes usually feature heavy whipping cream, evaporated milk, or both. And the dish is baked in the oven until the sauce is creamy and the top.
That looks good.
No matter how much you love macaroni and cheese, you've never really tried it until you've had it in the South. You might have seen sweet potato casserole at Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, why is it?
But it's time to stop.
Usually sweet potato casserole or like yams would have marshmallows on top, not breading.
Stop sleeping on this delicious dish. Though some folks love it
Like
topped with
this.
hard marshmallows, others prefer a topping made with brown sugar and pecans. Give it a go, and you'll soon realize that this often overlooked Thanksgiving side dish deserves a place on your dinner table all through the year. Check out one of our newest videos right
Okay.
here, plus even more math.
Okay, that was good. Besides the one like that random sauce with coffee, the random sauce with coffee, and then the like the liquor or whatever. Besides that, I can agree with all of them. Again, there are different cultures in the South. It's not all one thing. Like Appalachian versus like Mid-South, which would be like Kentucky and Texas versus like the Creole South, which is like more common where the French were in like Louisiana, versus like the Cajun versus like Deep South and like Alabama and like Mississippi, and versus like the Gullah Geechee, which are in like South Carolina and North Carolina, like on the coast, like versus, and then Florida doesn't count, but like in that area there's like a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different foods. What I ate where I'm from is not the same as what someone else ate in Texas. I'm not from Texas, right? Like versus what someone from Florida, whatever, versus someone in, you know, like everyone has like their own things. Again, like someone in Texas is probably not having Chow Chow. Like they're not making it with their family. Like they're probably not having like fried green tomatoes and stuff like that, right? It all really depends on where you're from. Like Texas is also going to have like a large Mexican influence because it's right next to Mexico. It used to be Mexico. So yeah, everything's a little bit different, but based on what I know and what I grew up on, a lot of this is accurate. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any of them that you actually want to try. I'm actually really curious to know if like there's like something from your country that is similar. I would actually be really interested to know that. Or yeah, like are there any that you want to see me cook? I don't know if I can't really cook, but I can try. But yeah, let me know in the comments, and let me know if you want to see any other videos, and I'll see you next time. Okay, so bye bye.